Everybody. This is mostly for those kids in Link Crew who are missing AP Lang and Comp today, which is Tuesday. Um, I wanted to let you know what we did today in class. So, first, I had people double check and make sure that they had checked their Schoology and that they had actually submitted the assignment for Schoology to me. There is one person that I know of currently in Link Crew who appears to have completed the Schoology assignment but didn't actually hit the submit button. So if you want to double check Schoology or Link Crew kids and make sure that you actually submitted your document, make sure that you do that. So today what we're going to be doing is we talked about the next two concepts that we're going to be discussing in class for rhetorical analysis. And actually, one is the only one of them is new, and that's the purpose of a piece of writing, figuring out what the actual purpose is. We're also going to be reviewing exigence because an author's motivation for writing and purpose are typically kind of go hand in hand. So let's take a look at something specifically that kind of does that. We are going to take a look at Colin Kaepernick, former quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. In class, we talked a little bit about what people knew about Colin Kaepernick before we watched this information about him. And so we spent a little time discussing the kneeling during the national anthem kind of controversy from the NFL season 2 years ago and how it's kind of continued on the next 2 years. All right, so first, to kind of discuss the background of what we've been doing. For the last few weeks, we have looked at kairos and context. So kairos, what events in the world have inspired this writing, and where does the writing fit in the context of the conversation? Basically, what are people saying about this topic? Then we've talked about speaker, audience, and bias. So who is the speaker and the audience of the piece? How does the language and strategies affect the audience as the speaker uses it? How does the speaker's background affect his or her stance and limitations? And how does the bias affect the writing? Today, we're going to take a look at context and kairos first to get you into this idea of what Colin Kaepernick had to say about the national anthem kneeling. So what we're adding to that, this week's guiding questions about purpose and exigence is how is the speaker connected to the topic? That's kind of that exigence, like what do we know about the speaker's background that connects him or her to the topic of whatever they're writing about. And then the second part, dealing with the purpose, what does the speaker hope to achieve through their particular writing? All right, so to give you the background, the kairos of the situation. Here's the background. In August 2016, Colin Kaepernick sat on the bench while the national anthem played during a preseason game for the San Francisco 49ers. He went unnoticed at first for 2 games before a photo from Jennifer Lee Chan of Niners Nation showed the quarterback sitting on the bench during the anthem in the 49ers' 3rd preseason game of 2016. Then kind of all hell broke loose. Kaepernick told the media that he chose to sit to protest the oppression of people of color in the United States and ongoing issues with police brutality, of which during that year there had been, leading up to the NFL season, a few instances, Trayvon Martin among others, that were in the news because of that. So what happened after that is over a year later in 2017 and this year, the action has taken on a life of its own. So there's been several players, several teams that have come out, and in some cases, for some weeks, there were certain teams that everyone knelt during the national anthem. And President Donald Trump took aim at owners for not firing players who kneeled. Then the conversation was renewed and reinvigorated, but it had a different tone. It suddenly became a controversy, whereas before it wasn't. It was just an action that Kaepernick was doing. So Kaepernick became a free agent in March when he opted out of his deal with the 49ers. And the team had been planning on releasing him later in the month anyway, but he kind of opted out before they could release him. So he visited with the Seahawks in May, but he remains a free agent today. So last week there was movement made on this. Kaepernick submitted a grievance against the NFL. Basically, that means he was attempting to sue the NFL because he said that the league colluded in denying him a contract due to his role in the protests, meaning he claimed that no one was taking him on as a quarterback because his record proved that he was a good quarterback performance-wise. So he believes that all of the NFL owners in the league got together and basically determined that they would not give him a contract because of his role in the protests, which he believes infringes on his constitutional right to freedom of speech. And just last week, on August 28th, an arbitrator, so a judge, ruled that his grievance against the league merits a formal hearing. So that means that someone decided that Colin Kaepernick has a case against the NFL, who he believes are not employing him based on his exercising his First Amendment rights. All right, so some responses to this whole thing. A couple different veterans came out, some opposed to what Kaepernick had to do, and some in favor, or at least not speaking out, opposed to what Kaepernick had to say. And then Donald Trump also had a tweet. So we've got Nick Stevanovic, a Marine Corps infantry veteran who deployed twice to Afghanistan, said, "For me, it is offensive at the least and painful at the most to see someone disrespect the flag or anthem, as they have become linked to the sacrifices that I have seen made in their name." But another veteran, Ronnie Brown, also Marine Corps, of wars in both Iraq and Afghanistan, said, "Being a vet and a cop now, that man," meaning Kaepernick, "did nothing to me or anyone else for that fact, aside from exercise his rights as an American citizen." And then finally, Donald Trump, July 20th of this year, as the preseason of the NFL was starting to kick off, tweeted this: "The NFL national anthem debate is alive and well again. Can't believe it. Isn't it in contract that players must stand at attention, hand on heart? The $40 million commissioner must now make a stand. First time kneeling out for game, second time kneeling out for season, no pay." All right, so you can kind of see what the context of the conversation is surrounding it. In class, we took a few minutes and we talked about if people had opinions about this controversy and where they kind of stood on that, and we discussed a little bit about that. Then you'll see that we have a link right here to the YouTube video of Colin Kaepernick's speech, and here is a PDF text of that same speech. I played the video for the class, and if you go on Schoology, I think it's right now the second thing on Schoology. It says Colin Kaepernick speech link PowerPoint or something like that. If you click on that, you'll be able to link directly to the speech off of there. So please take a look at it. Then we went over the text, and I had kids get together in groups and write down these two answers. How is the speaker connected to the topic, and what does the speaker hope to achieve? And we talked about the main purposes in all writing, which are to inform, to persuade, to entertain, and to demonstrate. Many of the class members believe that Kaepernick's speech has two main purposes, to inform and to persuade. And then we talked about what exactly is he informing people of, and what exactly is he trying to persuade people of. And we had a discussion based on that. Now, very recently, Nike also came out in choosing Colin Kaepernick as the face of their 2018 Just Do It campaign. And so this is the most recent publicity that they put out for him. Believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything, which is a quote that he has said about his role in this controversy. And so Nike has wholeheartedly supported Colin Kaepernick. In fact, the vice president of brand in North America, whose name is Jeannie Fissinati, told ESPN this: "We believe Colin is one of the most inspirational athletes of this generation who has leveraged the power of sport to help move the world forward." Obviously, Nike's taking a very interesting political stand with this, because there's definitely some people that don't agree with what Colin Kaepernick is doing. Will that cause a problem for the brand, or will them choosing Colin Kaepernick's face as the Just Do It kind of person of 2018, will that have a good, long-lasting effect? All right, So once you take a look at the speech and once you kind of think to yourself about what the purpose of that speech is, this is your homework for tonight for tomorrow. In the Thompson Reader, which is the bigger book, on page 96, there's an essay called Who Invented White People? It's by a man named Gregory J. So these two questions, the questions for the week, I want you to answer in connection with that. How is the speaker connected to the topic? What does the speaker hope to achieve? Those two things, make sure you have written down what you think about the essay. Beyond that, I'd also like you to look for strategies, techniques, and things like that that he uses to make his point. You don't have to write those down, but just paying attention to them as you go through the reading will really help you in the next couple days. All right. I hope that's everything. Please let me know through Remind if you have any questions about anything. And I hope you had a good day, a hot day, I'm sure, but a good day over there for Link Crew.